right, hour 2. Overdrive continues, brought to you by FanDuel. My Partsy is in studio. Partsy, nice to see you.
Nice to see you as well.
Give me a C, please. PG with a C.
You guys get it going the right way today.
How do you watch that and take that seriously? Like, it's a joke. It's a joke.
Well, I'm glad you're in here. It's great to see you. Alice Brothers in here. Kara Wagland, the O-Dog, Jeff O'Neill. I'm Bryan Hayes. Overdrive continues, brought to you by FanDuel. You want to bring your Partsy in? I mean, we do have him waiting patiently. Yes. Do you want to make sure that you're represented?
A real pro athlete, a former NFL player.
Here's
My
Luke
Partsy,
Willson.
Luke Willson. Welcome to the show, Partsy. Would you like to begin by some information you've uncovered about Al's brother and Donaghy, the fraud ref producer of ours, Doogie? Go ahead.
I would love to. I appreciate that. So, I just want to put things in our perspective here. Something seemed a little fishy this weekend, and we'll start with the picks. So generally speaking, we pick on Fridays. For some reason last week we picked on Thursdays. I batted an eyebrow out. I thought, no big deal. Then all of a sudden, the Monday game, which all year we've always picked on Monday. I'm in studio at 4 p.m. Game starts at 4:30. I tell Doogie, hey, I can come in. We should make the pick on Monday. He says, no big deal. I said, well, first and foremost, I picked a game. Assuming that it was on Sunday. It was moved, and I was clearly in studio ready to re-pick on Monday, like we've always done. But Doogie would have none of it. We get absolutely jammed by the fake blizzard. Again, and the governor of New York had to make a call to try and sewer us, as I said in the last show. Mm-hmm. If it's a blizzard game, the spread hits. If it's not a blizzard game, we would have changed our pick. So I'm sort of digging around because I'm like, what happened to our guy, Doogie? Turns out he was gifted something that money can't buy. I find out through my investigation that Al's brother has now transferred his diamond status with Carnival Cruise Line to Doogie. Okay?
And I've also uncovered...
He gets a free cruise.
That's disgusting allegations. Disgusting.
And don't kid yourself. We're not done there. We're not done
there. Oh, really? What else do you have?
Connection. There is a connection between the governor of New York and Doogie.
Greasy.
Thank you.
Greasy. Well,
it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And then what gets stranger is that, and I understand where Hayes is coming from. I do, Hayes, because you're trying to win and you have the world's worst spread picker on your team, which is your own fault, but it is what it is. Now, all of a sudden, Doogie's, and apparently he's going to make an announcement here, and maybe this rant I'm on is going to change this, but we're going to sit here. First and foremost, when did the playoffs even become a thing? Last year it wasn't really a thing. Now, all of a sudden, the wild card weekend is a Super Bowl, and we work backwards?
I don't know.
We work backwards?
Listen to the... Is this not regular season heroes?
Pick games. There's only 4 games left to pick?
Yeah, no,
what are we talking about here, boys?
Okay, let's remember something. Let's remember something, and this needs to be on the record. The Super Bowl, it's the spread, it's the total, and there's props. That's what we did last year.
We had like 10 different points available for the Super Bowl.
There's a lot of points available.
Every game is worth 1 point.
Exactly.
Like it is every other week.
Those points were available because Al's brother, who was not on my team last year, was 20 down, and we were trying to make it close.
Well, we intend on it being the same thing this year. In fact, I'm pretty certain that that's exactly what's going to happen.
It's the opposite.
Yeah, we'll throw you guys a lifeline. Al's brother off the Carnival Cruise, Rose and Jack. We're going to make sure that we throw you guys.
He's got to go to Royal Caribbean and start from the bottom. He's going to be in the bottom of the boat.
There's another seat, Carnival Cruise.
Carnival Cruise.
We just keep adding it. We love it. Kara, you're watching as an innocent bystander. You probably can't believe this is your life, but how do you feel about these
when
disgusting
I went to
allegations?
School, what stands out to me is for someone who seems or presents a confident front heading into the playoffs and just had the regular season that they did, Luke's getting really upset.
Lots of excuses. It's lots of
You would too.
He's coming up.
Can someone explain to me, this is what I honestly want to know. Can someone explain to me why I wasn't allowed to pick Monday's game on Monday like we have all year? I'd love to know the answer to that.
Because we didn't either. We picked the Bucks like 96 hours before the game hit, and they crushed.
And having no idea.
On Monday to start with.
Right.
There were
I said, I'm taking
many.
the Steelers because the game's in a blizzard. And then they moved the game, and I'm not allowed to re-pick.
Hey, listen, that's the nature of the beast, man. You make the pick is in, right? There's no, you can't go back and complain and say,
hang on a second.
Question marks on the injury report for the Bucs.
Status on Carnival Cruise.
Go ahead,
Doogie. Let's bring Doogie in here. Do you have any explanation why you didn't let us change the fake Blizzard game, Doogie?
Fake Blizzard.
No explanation. I don't have any connections with the governor of New York.
Okay.
There's no snowstorms. It's not on me here.
And you're not going on any cruises, right? Can you clarify that for the record?
I won't be on a Lido deck on the Carnival Cruise.
Okay, so we've already...
They're just straight fake news the entire time.
We've got a defamation suit on our hands. Al's brother, I'll represent you. You and I will take these guys to the cleaners.
One last thing I'd like to bring up. I'd like to bring this up, and Hayes, I'm giving you a chance here.
Mm.
You now have a partner that unanimously, we all talked about it, made the worst pick in OverDrive history, and I think it'll live for at least a decade. I'm going to give you the chance to fire him right now, because if not, you will lose this playoffs like you lost the regular season. Will you fire Al's brother, who picked the Dolphins on the road to cover the spread against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs at Arrowhead, which is insanity?
I'm going to respond in the form of an action. Never, Partsy. C's for life.
Double C's, baby.
Double C's.
Double C's.
Never going to happen. We're +2. We're rocking. Doogie, you're the commissioner. You're a man of integrity, although you were getting greased during the regular season, and that's very disappointing. But now you're on the straight and narrow. You have an announcement to make, right? You've been thinking this through. Commissioner Doogie, whatever you want to call him. Make the announcement. Let's get to the picks. Let's get rocking here.
Well, here's the announcement.
Okay.
Luke, you remember that handshake, and I'm going to give it to you here.
Okay.
Your regular season champions, Owen Willson has the first pick to pick the playoffs here.
So they're doing the first pick. That's the plan. That's it. And then what? We get to pick, or how is that going to work?
That's how it's going to work. They pick a game,
alternate.
you pick a game. Okay. They pick a game, you pick a game.
Okay, that seems very fair to me. I don't know how you guys...
Not fair.
What would be fair to you?
All pick all 4 games. Explain to me how the playoffs, the wild card weekend, is the most important weekend. There's hardly any games left to pick.
Listen, I've had enough. Doogie, I might have to overrule your ruling. Let's just let them pick. What do you think, House brother?
Go ahead. You pick
go ahead.
Go ahead. Give us the games that we
I don't want to hear excuses.
We
We didn't have a choice last week, and we were at 2-1. We were basically 3-0. I think both of us loved the Chiefs. We wanted to throw one game to make sure we kept you guys in the hunt, and we did that. That's why we took Tua and Mike McDaniel and the Fish. But you guys go ahead. You guys draft it out. Oh, Luke?
Oh, we've got controversy.
No.
We've got controversy. Joe from the Bridge just shot a note to the group chat, said Doogie flipped on the deputy commish. What's this all about?
Okay.
Doogie,
all right,
let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's look at the lines right now. FanDuel has the lines. These are as of a moment ago. Texans, Ravens laying 9.5 at home. That's courtesy of FanDuel. Packers, Niners Saturday night. Niners laying 9.5 at home against the Packers. Bucks, Lions Sunday afternoon. Lions laying 6.5 at home. Chiefs, Bills. Bills are 2.5-point favorites at home against the Chiefs. Again, that is all courtesy of our friends at FanDuel. You guys can pick your 2 games. Go ahead, quick. Who do you want?
Go ahead. Fire out the first one.
What do you want? Pick it. What do you want?
We want Baltimore, Houston, and as our first pick. You guys are up next. I'm not getting bad karma. We want Baltimore, Houston.
Okay.
Who are you taking? What's your pick?
We're taking the Texans plus 9.5.
Gutless. Bad pick. Horrible pick. C.J. Stroud is going to be a deer in the headlights. Go ahead. Explain yourself, though. Tell us why you think Houston covers.
He just took the number 1 defense and dismantled them. Bobby Slowick, he's obviously scheming up teams extremely well. I like the Ravens to win this thing. C.J. Stroud's playing at too much of an elite level right now. D'Amico Ryans has the defense firing. They'll keep this thing close, and if it's not, I still love a backdoor cover in this thing. Again, 9.5 points in a divisional game. C.J. Stroud has had an incredible season, and I also think that Bobby Slowick, and I'm sure we'll talk about this guy, is just on fire right now with what he's seeing. I love this matchup for the points. Again, I obviously like the Ravens to win, but plus 9.5, we're taking the Texans.
Okay. All right, there you go.
Bobby Slowick's a good coach, but he was a great coach. John Harbaugh.
That's right, he is.
This is the year. This is the year that Lamar Jackson finally comes out of his shell. He's going to win the MVP, and he's going to go on and possibly win a Super Bowl, maybe win the MVP of that game. And the only thing standing in their way this weekend of doing that is the Houston Texans. You look at that team, they've had a couple of weeks off. They're coming in. They're well-rested. They're healthy. Mm-hmm. I like this team going in
Mark
and
Andrews,
beat down
you
on
jumped
Texans.
in too fast, Al's brother. Waggy, love it or hate it?
I love that pick.
Oh,
I think that the Ravens are going to have a little rust. They haven't been performing in the playoffs. This is going to be a big question mark or a big answering moment for Lamar Jackson, whether he can get it done in the playoffs. Anyone can get it done in the regular season.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't been able to get it done in the playoffs. I think there's going to be a lot of rust. I think the Houston Texans are firing right now.
Okay. All right. Yeah, listen, they looked great last week. They did. And that leads us to, I guess, our pick. House brother, do you have any inclination one way or the other? Is there one in particular? The remaining games available: Packers, Niners, Bucks, Lions, Chiefs, Bills.
Yeah, the game that I think is the slam dunk pick of the week that you absolutely missed on. I can't believe you're allowing us to make this selection. You tell me if you're in on this.
Okay.
But I think that the Bucks cover over the Lions, and I think that it's not even a question mark. I think this is going to be a tight game.
That's your TG at this point?
I think that's going to be the case. I think it's going to be a tight game. I mean, you look at the Lions.
Don't do it, man.
You look at the Lions secondary. I mean, they're not great. You got Baker Mayfield, who's been slinging the rock lately.
Yes,
like his
he
last
has.
5 games, he's averaging about 300 yards per game, and that defense has been solid all year. And what their bread and butter is stopping the run. You got big bad Vita Vea right in the middle.
Yep.
You're going to have Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery running right into that big boy, and I think that's going to slow down that Lions offense. It's 6.5 points. That's a pretty big spread.
Big spread.
I'm not saying I think the
That-
Bucks win it, but I definitely think that they cover the number.
Okay.
That selection comes with a bowl of soup on the side, and you guys know what I'm talking about.
Well, here's why I like that, because this is where the gut instinct comes into play. The Lions won one ball game and they were parading in the street. That was their Super Bowl. Their GM was in the locker room crying, weeping. Dan Campbell weeping. I think they're building a statue for Dan Campbell right now.
Holmes acted
Meanwhile,
like
the
they
Bucks,
literally won.
they just won a Super Bowl a couple years ago.
Yeah.
They still have Super Bowl DNA. Baker Mayfield, no one wants to give him credit. He's been a stud this year, and he was a stud last week at home. I like their defense a lot. I think Todd Bowles will cook. I think Baker can cook.
And
I'm
don't
with you.
forget, guys, they only
we're
have
on
to
it.
walk 20 meters into the building. So it's don't forget
exactly.
that.
It's a dome. It's not outdoors. The weather doesn't matter. I think we lock it in. Bucks 6.5 on FanDuel.
That's insanity,
That's our
man.
first
I'm
pick. I
sorry.
love it.
That's the
Lock.
dumbest
I
thing
love
I've
it, House
heard on
brother.
this show.
I love it.
It's
I love
awful.
it. Arroo!
Oh,
The
God.
dogs are barking right now. The dogs are barking. Okay, we got 2 games left. Have you actually, Kara Wagland, please,
Yes.
your official
Love it,
announcement?
hate
Love
it.
it or hate that?
Tell
pick?
me you hate that. You're going to say you hate
I want to
it.
be on your side, but I hate that.
Yes,
hate
I
that.
knew
the
it.
Lions
I
got
knew
the
it.
momentum right now. That culture might be the best culture in the NFL right now.
Okay. All right. Don't
So,
forget.
real quick.
Yeah,
too,
go ahead.
I just want to point this out. So what's strange about this segment, I'm starting to pick up on it, is Al's brother will literally make things up that are not true.
What did
So
I
he
make
just
up?
said Baker Mayfield is averaging 300 yards in his last 4 games. Well, I just did the math, including the playoff game. He's averaging 266. Like,
That's not true.
What planet is
He's
this
rounding
guy
up.
living on?
His last
All right.
5 games, 381 yards, 283 yards, 309 yards, 137, and then 337 last week. That's 3 weeks out of 5 that he's gone for
You
over
said
300
4.
yards, and one he was 17 shy. You can't tell me that's not nearly 300. Come on now.
Yeah, do not challenge our tremendous
Come on now.
information. Like, please. You know who
3
you're talking
weeks
to?
over 300 yards,
Yeah.
throwing nothing but tuds in that time span
And
as well.
what's also strange about, again, you talk to this guy about these stats. So, again, I don't know if he heard the 137 he threw for it. Maybe he cut that out against Carolina. I'm not sure if that got in the rant.
He was hurt.
But it's like, look at the defense. Oh, so that game doesn't count, even though he played, even though he threw the ball 32 times. Okay, so what's weird about it is he says these things, and it's like, let's look at the defenses he played against. Philadelphia, worst defense in the NFL, in my opinion. Matt Patricia, I mean, I'm not even going to get into that rant.
Yeah.
Carolina, not great. New Orleans defense, probably the best defense he played. Jacksonville's defense, terrible. Green Bay's defense, wildly pedestrian. So it's like, dude, where this TG or the TI is what buries you, Hayes. You know it's a bad pick. Go over the top and take the Lions.
No, it's not going to happen. I know you're trying to push us in that direction. That tells me all I need to know.
Well-
is that the Bucks are the play. I like the dogs here. I like it.
I do too. And if you want to talk about some more numbers, you want to talk about bad defenses, how about a Lions defense that over the course of the year have given up the 27th most passing yards? They're giving up the 31st most yards per completion and the 20th highest
And how's
QB
their
rating
run
in the
defense?
NFL.
And how's their run defense, boss man?
Outstanding.
Doesn't
Number
matter.
2
We're
in the
talking about
NFL?
Baker Mayfield slinging the rock here.
That's right. Here's another C, calculation.
That's
and that
right.
thing is absolutely epic, what you're bringing to the table right now. All right, 2 more games left. Packers, Niners. Niners laying 9.5. Chiefs, Bills. Bills laying 2.5. These are the 2 biggest games of the week in terms of brands. We're talking Packers, Niners, which are huge. Chiefs, Bills. It doesn't get any bigger than that. The Saturday night game, the Sunday night game. Timo and Willson, you're on the clock. Which game do you want?
Niners Pack. We're taking the Niners minus 9.5.
Oh, I love it.
I love it. They had the layup of the week, and they squandered it. They squandered it.
You know what? I'll just say this, that Hazy B was for his birthday in that building, and he saw his pack just get manhandled.
I did.
And I would expect the same thing to happen. What you saw in Dallas was a fraudulent group of men. A fraudulent
By
group
Dallas.
of men.
Are you talking about Green Bay or Dallas?
Yes,
was fraudulent?
Green Bay. I'm telling
you
you,
haven't been
I
paying
love
attention.
this pick by my Partsy. Love this pick by my
So-
Partsy.
Everyone loves right now to talk about Jordan Love, and he's playing incredible. He's playing at a wildly high level, and you got to be feeling great if you're a Packers fan. But what everyone's forgetting to talk about is that Aaron Jones is healthy. Aaron Jones has run for 100 yards since this lingering hamstring has seemingly disappeared, which has opened up a lot of the deep shots for Jordan Love, and he's executing at a high level.
Correct.
But you know what's not going to happen this week? Aaron Jones is not going to be gashing this defense like he did against the fraudulent Dallas Cowboys. He is going to be getting smoked. This is the Niners' year.
Smoked,
they know it.
they call it.
Everyone knows it. This Niners defense is going to stymie the offense. And on the flip side, Kyle Shanahan, Brock Purdy, and all of the Pro Bowlers, Kyle Juszczyk, Kittle, Ayuk, Debo, CMC, the best player in the NFL, all of these guys realize the situation. They realize this is their year to do it, and they might win this game by 20 points. And it's still a great year for Green Bay, wildly successful. But we're taking 9.5 all day. This one's going to get ugly.
Okay. Kara, before we respond,
Yes,
how do you feel
please.
about that? Let me guess, you love their pick.
I hate it.
Thank you.
I hate it. Listen, I think the
Sensible.
49ers. I think the
Sensible.
49ers are going to win, but I have a funny feeling this is going to be a lot closer than people think.
I agree.
Credit to
Totally
the Packers on that one.
I completely agree, and I'll hand it off to you, Hayes, because you watch this team a lot more than I do with the Packers. You're pretty closely entwined with what they're all about. But I look at this team and they're chugging. Like Jordan Love statistically has been the best quarterback in football since week 11. He does not turn the ball over, and that's going to be key in this game here to be able to keep their possessions and then just go down the field and score points. And you look at San Francisco, they've had a couple of weeks off. Will they be rusty? If they're rusty out the gate and you see the Packers, if they're able to go down and put some points up early, I think this game comes a little bit tighter, and there's a strong probability actually, that the Packers cover the number.
Yeah, and you're a weather guy too, aren't you? We're talking possibly it being...
It is going to be a rain game. This is going to be a weather game. Not sure if you knew that, Luke, but there is going to be some weather here.
Even better.
Even better. You're going to take little noodle arm Brock Purdy throwing the ball over Jordan Love, who can really zip it in the rain.
Little
No, I'm going
noodle
to take
arm
this
Brock
run
Purdy.
game with CMC over Aaron Jones and the Packers run game. That's what I'm going to take. And I'm going to throw this out here now. Depending on who you guys pick in this final game, I'd be willing to trade you this game if you love the Pack that much. Hayes, I know it's your team. And then if you guys are right, you really will be able to put us in the ground.
I'm happy with you guys being on the wrong side of this. You just made the
Hazy,
pick
let me
for
just
us.
ask you, do you not, I know you love the Pack and you and Joe Bowen and the whole fam. Do you not get this? You don't understand the probability of them getting
It's a
dummy.
very tough spot. I will say this. Kyle Shanahan has owned Matt LaFleur in the past, but I do wonder how much of a role Aaron Rodgers played in that. Like what LaFleur is telling the world is that he had a game plan in the past that Rodgers basically crumpled up and threw into a trash can and said, I'm not doing it. I'm calling my own audibles. I'm going to call my own plays at the line. And what LaFleur is going to do is have a game plan here that I don't know if Shanahan is going to be completely prepared for. A.J. Dillon, I believe he practiced today. Maybe he's a part of this. If Dillon's healthy, you may not need Jones every single touch. If you have Jones, Dillon, I think Jair Alexander is going to be huge here.
Yeah, he didn't practice.
Yeah, if he doesn't end up playing, that's pretty significant on the corner. But I think Jordan Love, you've been watching this guy, man. It is legit. He has been a superstar. And Brock Purdy in the playoffs, we'll see. And what did Baltimore just do 2 weeks ago? Like they may have supplied the blueprint for how you confuse him or how you put him in a bad
You
spot.
haven't even mentioned Romeo Dobbs. He's one of the best route runners in the league right
Dobbs
now.
been great. Like last week, Jayden Reed didn't have a
week.
catch, and Christian Watson had one catch for 9 yards. Love is going to spread the ball around. Luke, you should know better. You're a tight end. I know Kittle's the man, but Musgrave and Kraft, these two are studs.
Yeah.
They are studs in the run game and the catch game.
Is a stud? Nick Bosa.
That's fine.
You guys don't understand this Niners front seven. I wouldn't expect you to because you're listening to TG, Al's brother, he just forfeited his platinum status on Carnival Cruise.
Hey,
You're already down to
Take your
platinum.
pick.
You know who
Take your
else?
pick. A guy that played against them all, or someone who's going on a Carnival cruise.
I just want to
Take
say,
your pick.
Kara, you're a sensible human.
I try to be.
Who's a better pass rusher, Nick Bosa or Micah Parsons?
I mean, listen, don't put me in that position.
At
They're
the very
both
least,
very
they're on
good.
par.
Yes.
And what happened
Sure.
last week?
They
Micah Parsons did squat.
But there's a
Just like
very
you
different, very big difference between the rest of the Dallas Cowboys defense and the 49ers defense is
Thank you,
far
Kara.
more
Well, I'll say
elite.
this, the Packers,
Far more elite.
The Packers' offensive line this year, when it comes to pass blocking, the second highest graded pass blocking unit in the NFL.
I
I
agree.
think they'll be able to
Oh,
pass
God.
block.
Here we
They
go.
can run,
According
block,
to TSN.
complementary
According to
game.
who?
They'll be fine.
I'm telling you.
According to who?
According to ESPN, without stats, go look up the
Yeah.
stats.
It's
Get in
funny.
there.
Last week, what'd you say about Kansas City? Oh, Kansas City has the worst run-stop defensive one-on-one rush
Win
game,
rates.
and that's why
Run-stop
Miami's going
win
to
rates.
win.
That one
really
hurt.
played well.
That one
They
hurt.
ran the ball 13 times.
I know that's
Like, that should have been, they were supposed to run the ball 40 times.
That's not.
Didn't they look at the
not on
stats?
They should have known better. We had tremendous information. They screwed us.
All right, you guys
All
are
right, here
up.
we go.
Last game.
All right, so we've got the Bills and Chiefs. The Bills obviously at home on FanDuel right now. The Bills are minus 2.5. There's one team that starts with a B and another team that starts with a C. Al's brother, take the floor.
We are going to select the C team, and the Kansas City Chiefs will take the points. But here's the thing, okay? This is a tough game, and look, we're getting jammed up this week, all right? You want to complain you got jammed up last week with the weather? Look at the injury report on Buffalo, because that's going to be a major factor in how this thing plays out.
That's right.
If Buffalo gets a lot of those defensive players back, they got a good chance to win this game and cover the number. But where it stands right now, I'm not all that certain that a couple of key members are going to be back. And if that's the case, I got to go with Mahomes and take the points as the dog. He's 8-1-1 as an underdog in his career against the spread. I think that it's unfortunate Buffalo finally gets this game at home. But with the injuries, it
And a
just
short
might be
week,
too
too.
much. A short week.
That's a big part.
Very
of it.
banged up. Yeah, I hate it. I hate it as like a Bill supporter, but I think we got to roll with the Chiefs.
I think we go with the Chiefs. We'll lock it. I think it's an incredibly tough game. This can go either way. I think when in doubt, you take the points. When in doubt, you bet for Mahomes. Last week, notwithstanding, but that's all good. Listen, I think the extra 2 days rest, Chiefs played Saturday, Bills didn't play until Monday, is really significant. I also think this is where the gut instinct comes into play. There's a legacy at stake here, a legacy moment for Mahomes. Everyone's focused on Allen, which is understandable. This is his first road playoff game that's not the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
If he goes in there and steals the souls of Bills Mafia again, all he's doing is separating from his peers. He's just going to keep pushing Josh Allen behind him. Joe Burrow was injured, didn't even make the playoffs this year. Trevor Lawrence did make the playoffs. Justin Herbert didn't make the playoffs. If he goes in there and torches this team with T. Swift in the stands, it's a massive moment in his career.
It
And
was-
I
Side
think
note,
Mahomes
Justin
shows up.
Herbert's not even involved in that conversation.
I know, but
right
I'm
now.
saying he's around the same age. You know,
I get
Deshaun
it.
Watson, whoever else you want to include, Lamar. Like this guy, he's already got 13 playoff wins in his career, or 12 playoff wins in his career, I believe. If he makes it 13 already, he's up with like Roethlisberger and Favre and Staubach. I think they do it. I think the Chiefs go in there and win. Luke, Kara first before they respond.
I love it.
Yes.
I'm not. Listen, I think
on.
way too much is being made of this home field advantage thing. He's gone on the road and won Super Bowls. I think this is Patrick Mahomes we're talking about. I think the Bills let the Steelers hang around. The Steelers suck, and I love the Steelers. I think that there's no doubt in my mind the Chiefs roll.
I love it. Luke, go ahead.
Well, you know, my plan has backfired here, to be honest with you. I drafted these games assuming that you would definitely take the Bills, and it just goes to show you that Al's brother is the biggest fraudulent sports fan in Toronto media, and that's just facts. Okay, this guy goes on. He talks about the Leafs. He talks about Toronto. I give him the Bills game, and he turns his back on the Bills. Are you kidding me?
I'm here to
I would
win.
like you to apologize to all when the Bills win this game. Which, to be honest, I would have taken the Chiefs. But because of how this has transpired, I'm a big believer in karma. I would like Al's brother to apologize to all Toronto sports fans after this because he is a fraud who just sat here and took the Chiefs over the Bills. It's ridiculous. This guy, I can't get over it. I cannot get over that he.
Can you believe this? Can you believe this slander? It's you know what's pathetic about you two is if we're up to you, you'd want to pick this game at 6:00 on Sunday. They'd be complaining. We need to know what the weather is. We need to know what the injury report is.
Where is Al's brother from? Is he not from Niagara?
Yes.
Is he not from there?
That's why you are a man that I can trust.
This man claims to be a Toronto guy.
He's objective. This is why he goes to the this is why he studies the combine every year because teams around the league they want his advice.
Dog, I've got what happened after the Miami pick. You know, there was a lot of internal strife, obviously. I think Hayes is taking control here. Al's brother's just a figurehead now. He's got no say in this, does he?
You know what
They had a meeting in their underpants at a hockey card show, and Hayes said, "I'm the boss now."
And I went and I grinded the tape. I went and grinded the tape this week in order to pick winners, and that's exactly what we're doing. Picking winners. You wait. Next week, you guys will be down big time.
Kara, do you want to respond to that?
Kara, hang on a second.
I don't want to talk about anybody's underpants.
You have to answer one question.
Okay.
Last week, the brutal pick of the week.
Yes.
The brutal pick of the week was clearly Miami going into KC. What is your potential of the brutal pick of the week? Like, what has the makings of something where you're going to look back?
You want me to reset? You want me to reset quickly here? Why don't I reset what we did?
Give us a rundown of what the picks were.
Okay, so all the lines, of course, courtesy of FanDuel. You got Ravens minus 9.5. Owen Willson took Houston. Niners, Packers. Niners laying 9.5. Owen Willson took the Niners. Bucks, Lions minus 6.5. We took the points. We took the Tampa Bay Bucks. Chiefs, Bills 2.5 point favorite. We took the Chiefs plus 2.5.
So the difference that I look at, the teams that are left, it's like that old game they used to play on Sesame Street. One of these things is not like the other.
Mm-hmm.
The Bucks are the team that does not belong here. They're on borrowed time. And so when I look at this Texans, Ravens, I can see it going either way. Packers, 49ers, both good teams. Chiefs, Bills, fantastic teams. Bucks, Lions, nobody saw the Bucks here. I think they're on borrowed time. I think that's the one that stands out to me as why would you take the Bucks?
Okay.
Yes.
All right. That's disappointing to hear, but Al's brother, we will prevail.
Yes, we will. I like the Bucks.
Yeah,
I think they're going to do okay. I think they'll cover. I don't think they'll win. I do think the Lions and Dan Campbell, and they'll go off to an NFC championship.
Yeah, I like the Bucks. We're going to just keep that on a reel next week when they don't cover.
Will do.
Thank you, Doogie, for confirming that you will do that. All right, Luke. Well, there you go. I mean, the picks are in. They're all locked in. Stop bothering Doogie. Okay, he's a busy guy. He's got a lot on his plate.
Got a lot of cruises to sign up for.
That's a serious allegation. I'm going to address that with him.
Get your buffet menu order in already, Doogie. You and Al's brother. Get all that stuff sorted out.
Yeah. So there you go. Picks are locked in. Team Owen Wilson, they're on the Texans and the Niners. Team Hayes and Bro, we're on the Bucks and the Chiefs.
We're on the Dogs.
There you go. We're absolutely. Dogs are barking, man. We love it. So there you go. All the lines, of course, courtesy of FanDuel. You can find all the picks on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Luke, good luck.
Thank you. Same to you. To you, not to the fraud who just abandoned Niagara.
I'm all about picking winners, Luke.
That's right.
All about picking winners.
I thought Luke had already flushed
Clearly,
you.
you're not about that either. The record shows.
Okay. We appreciate that. That's enough. Put him on hold. All right. You're off to do some panel work tonight? Leafs Flames?
Kara, can you substitute?
No,
Luke's?
I'm not doing any of that crap. Get out of here.
Brother,
with that.
come on.
I'm not doing it.
Al's brother. Yes, Al's brother.
Oh, no.
Al's
what a dirty
brother.
trick that was.
There it is. Give me the C, Al's brother. Give me the C. I love it. Charcuterie, cards, cruises, everything. Calculators.
Calculator.
Chiefs.
All of it.
Chiefs.
All of it.
Buccaneers. They got 2 C's in there. We love it. All right. We'll catch you. We'll catch you
guys.
tomorrow. Al's brother. Good luck this weekend, buddy. I like where we're at.
I like it too.
All right, there he is, Al's brother. Kara Wagland, Bryan Hayes. We continue with the show. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on the TSN app. All right, the picks are in. Team Owen Wilson will complain about it, but it's over. It's all locked in. Track it on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. OverDrive continues. Bryan Hayes, Kara Wagland. Leafs in action tonight. Raptors in action tonight. This is a rarity. You had Lowry here last night.
Yeah,
You got DeMar here
DeMar.
tonight. The spread is about the same, but man, the Raptors played well last night. Like, that's the best first quarter I can think of, which is kind of crazy when you consider what happened in the afternoon. Like, Siakam got dealt
they would
hours before tip-off, and then they just went out there and performed. And to chat about it, we're joined now by our TSN Raptors analyst. Here's Leo Rautins. What did you make of that? Is that just a coincidence, Leo, or what, that they played that well, considering how emotional I'm sure the locker room was before the game?
Yeah, that was crazy. Again, oftentimes, anytime you have a trade, good or bad, you know, there's an emotional bump. Different things happen. There was also, an emotional talk pregame with the coach, with his friend passing, the coach at Golden State. So there was a lot of emotion there, and to some degree, you kind of cleared the air. As much as all the things with Pascal. They've been circling around now for quite some time. And whether you like it or not, there's a negativity with that. There's a weight that's carried with that. And that involves everybody. And all of a sudden that's gone. That's lifted. So even though it's emotional, your teammate, your friend is gone, I think that there's some lightness to it. And they certainly played like that. They just came out with great energy, speed. It was fun to watch.
Oh.
If you could bottle that, it'd be a great year.
Oh, no kidding, man. It was outstanding. And I think, the two newest additions, I guess not named Bruce Brown and the other guys who came in the deal yesterday, really sparked it yesterday. RJ Barrett was phenomenal. I thought he was aggressive in the first quarter in particular. Emmanuel Quickley was great with the ball, off the ball, hitting shots. I mean, I wonder, obviously we know the role Scotty Barnes is going to play in this rebuild or retool, whatever we're calling it. But is that kind of what you're alluding to, Leo, is that now that Pascal's out, like the new guys, maybe they can really feel like, okay, we can find our role on the court, on the bench, in the room, because the longest standing Raptors not around anymore?
I think they already have. I mean, go back and think about over the last year and a half. We've heard OG saying he'd like to be more involved. He'd like to do more in the offense, things like that. We heard Pascal say at the beginning of the year, this is different for me, a hard time adjusting. How did these two guys come in from day one and impact this team? Mm-hmm. Right? How do they do it? Because they just play aggressive, right? You don't have to tell RJ Barrett to look for a shot. You don't have to tell Quickley to be aggressive on offense. They play that way. And that's what this team desperately needed. Instead of excuses and talking about it, they just play. Now, you got different levels of talent. That's another question. But these guys come to play, and they've done that ever since they got here. So, to me, they're not an issue. And their basketball IQ certainly has stepped up because they've had no problem adjusting to what Darko is trying to do in the system. And as far as Scotty goes, he's been establishing himself as the guy from the beginning of the season. And I think it's so important now going forward that you keep establishing that. Like, it's really hard to be the guy, right? You've got to be there every game, and it's hard. And teams lock in on you. And I think that, he's done a really good job so far. And now for the rest of the season, you want to continue to build on being the guy, right? Being there every night, playing through adversity, playing through fatigue, whatever it is. You got to fight to be that guy. And I think, he's already on the way to doing that. I think he's got some good help around him. And I'm sure there's going to be some more tweaking as this season goes along here. So, I'm very positive about a lot of different things that are happening.
Leo, Masai spoke earlier today, and he talked for quite a while with the media. One of the questions he was asked was why he didn't move on from the likes of guys like Kyle Lowry, Fred VanVleet, when he had an earlier opportunity to, why he didn't move on from Pascal Siakam maybe last year. And he kind of said that he wanted to give these guys a chance to do something. He wanted to believe in them and give them the opportunity to win. Do you agree that was the right way to go? Should he have moved on from Pascal Siakam, it wasn't a bad return, but they probably could have gotten more had they moved on from him sooner?
Well, a couple of things. First of all, Masai said he really didn't think they were going to, based on the offers they had last year or in the summer, that it was significantly better. But when you really stop and think about, what Masai has done throughout his time here, he's never knee-jerk reacted to anything, right? He's given things time. And I said this, I was talking with Jay last night after the trade, and one of the things I said is Masai knows that, everybody talks about great teams. There's not a lot of great teams, right? There's a lot of good teams, but there's not a lot of great teams. And the Raptors are close. There's not that far off from, we've seen them play Boston. They're right there with Boston. We've seen them beat Milwaukee. We've seen them play right with the Clippers. They should have beaten LA. You just go through the teams. Denver's maybe a little bit different situation, right? But, they're playing with all the best teams when they come to play. So they're not that far off. And I think that was the tease, right? That was something that Masai and Bobby Webster were looking at, saying, okay, let's just give it a little bit more time. Let's just see if this can come together. And, obviously at some point in time they said, okay, it's not going to happen. And then you start making some moves. So, they've never been, a management that rushes. They've given every opportunity for players to succeed. They've tried to tweak before they just explode anything. So it's kind of par for the course of what they've done. They just realized that it's not going to go anywhere. And I think that kind of became pretty clear early in the season. And, OG being the first to go. And, again, that was a trade that worked out really well for both teams. And I think this trade is going to work out as well for both teams, depending on, obviously, there could be a lot of things happening with the picks, Bruce Brown. Who knows? Who knows what's in the future plans? And there's some other players in the Raptors that could be moved. That what Masai's got planned or what they're thinking about as far as going forward.
Well, and you and I were talking about this a little bit last night, and when they got the 3 first-round picks, yes, it's a good haul, but it's a little bit of a weak draft heading into this year. So are they likely to move those picks? They've already made 2 massive moves ahead of the trade deadline. So Masai said today he's definitely looking to do more. What would you like to see Masai do at this point?
Well, I still think you have to address, shooting. I think you still have to address defense, right? I mean, this team is turned the corner offensively with Darko, but they're struggling defensively, and that could mean, somebody with some size. It's difficult to determine, what that may be. I'm getting the feeling that, to me, Gary Trent and with his contractual situation, he'd be somebody that I think might be on the move, depending, and I think he's got value. And again, we mentioned Bruce Brown, and Bruce Brown is a player I really like, right? I mean, he's a winner. He's played in different situations and always plays well. So I'm a fan of his, but if he's not somebody that Masai and Bobby feel fits into what they're trying to do, he's definitely a movable piece. And again, with his contract, I think that it's definitely an option for them. So, and you can package the picks, right? You always have the opportunity in any draft as you're lower. I think when people say it's a bad draft, they're usually talking about the top half, right? The top half of the first round. And then when you're middle of the first round down into the second round, it's how good is your scouting? How good have you done your homework? Who's the sleeper here? And the Raptors, in the past, with Fred, who was undrafted, but, Norm Powell, Jakob Poeltl, Pascal, et cetera. They've done a good job there. So I think it's important to realize a lot of things could happen. And as always, Kara, everything's close to the vest with Masai. The fact that he said more things could happen before February was actually saying a lot.
Yeah, it really was.
I was surprised by that. They actually come out and say, yeah, definitely. I'm
with Leo Rautins, Raptors, Bulls tonight. We saw Grady Dick last night. He came in early. It was in the first quarter. I think that was Darko realizing, okay, we're having a great quarter. Let's get him in. He's a part of the rotation. He looked good. That spinorama to RJ was a beautiful play. Couple steals, hit a couple threes. Only ended up playing 12 minutes.
You know what I loved about that? You know what I loved about what Darko did last night?
What's that?
So, Grady comes in, he plays great, right? Plays great. You could tell that the G League experience has really helped him. He's playing quicker. His footwork's quicker, right? And that's the big thing for a shooter coming in this league. You got to adapt to the quickness. But what Darko did, Grady comes in, plays great, plays fantastic, looks comfortable. hardly played in the second half, right? Take him out. You're winning this game. Let that first game be a high. Don't give any time for maybe to have a few plays and go the other way. This first game was great. Take them out, let them finish on a high, and now you try to build on that each game. And, I think sometimes it's, coaches, you have different ways to use players and different things to do that can impact their confidence. I think to give them that great run and then just let them just chill the rest of the game for the most part, I think is a great move if you want to help, take them to that next level.
And I agree with that. And I was thinking that, like, getting a little greedy. I'm like, I'd like to see him keep playing because he's a first-round pick and, the hype that came with that and where we are in the process of, them rebuilding this team and them acquiring more first-rounders. But it feels like he's been lost in the shuffle here, Leo. And I can't imagine that's the way the Raptors feel. I mean, it's mid-January. The guy's still 20 years old now, I believe, or a teenager still. I mean, come on. He's still got to be a guy that they have big plans for, right? Like, who cares what other guys are doing that were drafted behind him? Doesn't matter. Like, this was never going to be the year he was going to be a superstar, but they need to develop him properly, and he should still be a big part of their plans moving forward.
No, and I agree. But I think you got to look at it at the context of everything that's gone on. So the big advantage you have is the G League, right? And that was a big advantage for Pascal, Fred, Norm, all those guys. So that experience of going there and not playing limited minutes and not hoping to, not making mistakes and feeling uncomfortable, getting comfortable. And again, the big thing with Grady is the speed of the game. When you're a shooter coming into the league, and you said he just turned 20, so you look at his body; he's not even developed yet. He's got a lot of growing to do. But to catch up to the speed of the game is really big for a shooter. And we could see the impact of the G League. You also had, like Masai said, they may not be done. So he wants Pascal.
I think we lost Leo.
Oh, no.
It was a good one, too, man. Leo was bringing a lot of heat. It's all right. We're up against it.
If you're gonna lose him at a certain point in time, it's better to lose him after you've been chatting for a while, I guess.
Right. Make sure you call him back, Doogie. Say thank you. We love Leo. We'll get Leo on again probably next week. But with DeMar in tonight, it's kind of interesting how, DeRozan has no connection. I don't think he's meeting Masai for beers last night. I'm pretty sure that's not happening.
No, but I think he's getting together some former teammates. And
but who's still here
that
he's even...
Chris Boucher.
I guess Chris Boucher was around. I
don't
guess
know.
he'd have a
Maybe
connection
last
with
night,
Chris
when did they
Boucher.
come in? Maybe they came in last night. He got together with Kyle and a couple of, you never know.
Yeah, they were here. He was here yesterday. Yeah. They flew in yesterday. But I guess I'm just saying, there was a time there where it was DeMar, Kyle, Dwayne Casey, and now they're just coming in as visitors with no connection.
No, it's weird
anything anymore.
How far we've come with the team now.
The amount of turnover, the coaching staff, everything, except for Masai. And I guess, again, Chris Boucher's been here for a while, but Masai, Bobby Webster, ownership,
so
training staff and stuff like that.
But from the championship team,
Yeah, it's all moved on. All right, so thanks again to Leo. We appreciate that. Pierre LeBrun, our TSN Hockey Insider, in about 20 minutes more on the Leafs in Calgary playing the Flames tonight. Overdrive continues, TSN 1050 and on the TSN app. All right, TSN 1050's Leafs lineup. Your chance to win Leaf tickets every week, all season long. Every weekday we'll announce a current or former Maple Leaf player, and on Fridays you'll have a chance to call in and name the Leaf lineup of the week. This week, Kara, we're giving away tickets to see the Maple Leafs play the Islanders February 5th.
Great game.
Yes. Plus, we're throwing in a $250 Vanilla Visa prepaid card with each pair of tickets to make it the ultimate game night. Vanilla Visa prepaid cards are available for purchase at Petro-Canada. Your player of the day is Jason Blake. Jason Blake. Remember when the Leafs signed Jason Blake?
Yes, yeah.
That didn't go over that well in the marketplace.
No.
I think they paid him $4.5 million or $5 million a year. And he was coming off a 40-goal season, I believe, with the Islanders. And they weren't a good team. It just didn't work here. It happens. But Jason Blake, I haven't heard that name in a long time.
I was going to say, it's been a minute since I've heard that one.
Yeah, it's been a while. But, the Leafs are in Calgary tonight. And I think William Nylander could use something.
Oh man, I feel like we're both very optimistic that the Leafs will get a win tonight. I do think that they'll beat the Flames. I just don't know past that where it's going to go. I don't know if the turnaround starts now.
Yeah, exactly, and
And they kind of need it too.
They really do. I mean, with Detroit winning last night, now they're into a wild card spot. Tampa's right there, Pittsburgh's there, the Islanders are there. They're just kind of, there's a really convoluted middle.
There's a bunch
of
teams all just kind of separated by a point or two.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah, it's basically the Rangers, the Bruins, the Panthers, and then a bunch of teams.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, two other teams are going to get in the Metro Division, probably Carolina at this point. Maybe it's Philly, that's the third team. Jersey.
That's what it's looking like so far. Yeah, the Devils are right there.
Yeah, they're in the mix. Although they continue to
They're only 2 points
lose
back, or 3
games
points
and-
back of the Leafs.
Yeah, Lindy Ruff, he's kind of feeling some heat. He's going at it with reporters, and
The Capitals have come on.
yeah.
They were terrible to start.
I know there really is a
It's been
lot
a
of
weird
parity.
year. Yeah,
Yeah, it's been a weird year.
season.
There's been a lot of parity. It's very similar to the way the NFL season played out. And the
Yeah.
NBA is the same thing. Like we had Leo was on. Leo, I saw him on with Jay last night too, saying there's just no great teams.
No.
Like there's not, and that's what the NBA is trying to do with the new CBA and capping max contracts and making it very penal if you end up having too much money, allocated to few players. They want parity.
They want the opposite of what Major League Baseball is doing right now.
Very much so. The Dodgers and then every other
And the
team.
Mets.
Yeah.
Yes. Just throwing money.
That's the way it's going. The Jays could. They had $700 million.
They could have.
Apparently for Ohtani.
Hey,
but
they made
we'll
a
see.
good stab at it, says Ross.
That's all that matters.
Happy
They
with
tried
their
their
pitch.
best. A for effort.
He seriously considered them.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
All right, final hour coming up. Kara Wagland in here. I'm Bryan Hayes. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on the TSN app.